If you're a sports fan and you think that covering a particular sport or a team would be awesome, it's exactly what you think it would be.
3, 2, 1.
Roll red.
There is nothing like the sports atmosphere.
Exciting. It's super fast paced.
Let's go silver.
Set silver. Roll big silver. And there's the
goal.
Yeah! Goal. Ready, two. Take two.
You're going live. There could be hundreds of thousands of people watching this.
And sometimes you also get to witness history.
The Pitt Panthers are going into the next round for the first time in program history.
Sports broadcasting is a roller coaster.
Nope. Key that out. That's why we can't do this.
But you're gonna get on and you're never gonna want to get off.
My name is Sara Mackulin. I'm Director of Broadcast and Video Production here at Pitt. My day-to-day job is to make sure we get the broadcasts on the air, and that's coming from a content perspective, from a technical perspective, from a graphics perspective, and everything like that. So just like the sports world, it's never the same every week. I joke with Jason all the time, my counterpart.
All right, am I looking at the camera for this? Is that okay? Cool. Right for the camera. Okay.
There's definitely a bunch of moving pieces, and some weeks if we don't have many games, it's a little slower, but then there's some weeks that we have 4 games in 5 days, and so the weeks kind of just fly by when it comes to that.
Get out of here, Scott. Just migrating.
It's not that easy to leave.
My name is Jason Earle. I am the Director of Broadcast and Video Production for Pitt Studios, and I produce games and do play-by-play announcing for games as well. Typical day, well, that's the beauty of it, is that there really is no such thing as typical. Depends on what our schedule's like for the week. The fun thing about college sports is that one day you could have volleyball, the next could be soccer, and maybe the next is basketball.
How's it going?
Good, how are you? Your day kind of depends on what your athletic schedule for the week is like, and typically that keeps it very exciting, and we're always doing something different ever on a day-to-day basis. So. Tomorrow I'll be producing the soccer game against Virginia, and Saturday I'll be announcing the women's soccer game against Louisville. Back-to-back games, or maybe 3 games in a 4-day span, sometimes even 4 games in a 4-day span. And it's tough to always organize your time in the most efficient way, but an important part of it too is just taking things one game at a time. Coach, thanks for taking the time here. Kevin and Dave will be on the call for Friday night's match. Me and Regan are on the production team for Friday.
I'm Regan Check. I am the coordinator of broadcast and video production. I come in every single day. Sometimes I'll bring donuts, depends on the day. I am the AP for tomorrow's game. So I have been doing research to help me build graphics and just coordinating with whoever is the producer for that game and making sure that I help them in any way that I can.
So appreciate you taking the time. With that being said, I'll have Kevin and David take it away.
There's a lot of your guys I'd like to talk about. Obviously Leo Alfonso, his ability, his leadership, what he's doing for this team, if you could add comment on that.
We've been researching a lot about Virginia and what makes their soccer program run, and we've met with both coaches now over Zoom with our announcers and our production team, just trying to know as much as we possibly can about Virginia and Pitt soccer. But the other beautiful thing about covering college sports is that there's no script, and as much as we research and know about the teams, you never know what's going to happen. But I'll figure it out. That at least gives us options, so I can think of something.
Yeah, I think there's tons of stuff you could do there. So
yeah.
Whatever you decide, we will say words. All right, thanks for setting this up today.
You got it, no problem.
See you.
See you. Yeah, if you could find where they're at now, that would be awesome. Sure.
Yeah.
We naturally are going to have a better knowledge of Pitt because we cover every game for them. But for Virginia, this week we've really had to dig in and figure out the main stories that we want to talk about when we're talking about Virginia soccer and showcasing them as well. Yeah, there's definitely a lot we could do with this one.
Building a story can be fun sometimes. It's kind of like a mystery in a way.
And yeah, let's just think of a way we can shorten up the title. So maybe even just like scoring duos. Be probably a shorter way to say it.
New career highs for players, maybe potential career high. Just looking for little tidbits that the regular viewer, or even a new viewer, helping reel them in.
Do we normally go all caps on this?
I feel like yeah.
Yeah, I think we should
Even
go all
since
caps.
last season too.
Yeah. Getting to come to work every day and your work is to watch teams play, to research teams, to find out stats about teams. I mean, it's awesome. So it's really a fun thing to do, and we try not to take it for granted. See ya. Yeah, we could. Starting at 3 o'clock. It's pretty much go time. The whole crew arrives, so the control room will be full. Start by faxing things out, just making sure we have the basics done, and I'll meet with everyone in the control room, whether that's graphics, replay, audio.
You have your front bench, which is your technical director. Their job is to basically cut the show. They have a switcher board in front of them that their director is giving them the cues on what to cut and what they want on air.
Our director for tomorrow night will make sure that he meets with the cameras, which we'll have 5 camera operators.
Play, low cams, get the player who caused the ball to go into play. That should be the person who kicked it and then bounce off to somebody else.
The producer is your offensive coordinator, and your director is your quarterback. And so the offensive coordinator kind of comes up with all the ideas, is kind of guiding the ship. Create a show plan, create a workbook, kind of decide what graphics they want, what storylines they want to follow. But then it's the quarterback's job to execute it and go out there and play the game. So that's kind of what the director does for the producer. They make sure everything visually on camera looks good. And next to the producer, you have the associate director, and their job is kind of your break manager. So the game doesn't go on while we're still in a commercial break. And the next row is your graphics bench, and that's basically where all your in-game content comes from a graphic perspective. So you have your CG op, who's your primary graphics operator, and they focus on all the big graphics. So the big tombstones or full screen graphics that you may see with stats and that kind of stuff. Next to your CG op is your AP, associate producer, managing their bench and making sure it's all functioning, the expressions are all set up, everything's linked properly and working. Next to your AP is your bug op. So your bug op is in charge of the score bug, exactly how it sounds. Some of them are manual and some of them are linked, so they don't necessarily have to keep score, but they're focusing on bug pops and little stat pops to kind of keep you engaged in the game.
What's that?
It's like, it's tense. Like, you can feel it from the camera. It's very tense in here tonight.
And then you have 2 replay operators per game. They're in charge of the replays during the game. And then you have your audio operator in the control room, and they're in charge of exactly what that sounds, making sure talent mics are up when they need to be and levels are good, and making sure music is played. So they're in charge of all your audio for the game. In the booth, you have your 2 announcers for every game, and then you usually have 4 to 5 cameras for every game.
And again, it's tough to predict exactly what's going to happen in the game, but we try to prepare ourselves as best we can in those 4 hours leading up.
And then it's showtime.
And it's showtime. We got 5 minutes. Everyone in here good to go?
But headsets are key. We're on headsets all game, talking to each other.
You've got people talking a lot, which is a good thing. Anyone have any final questions before we do this?
What are we doing?
Just the open when we start the that was sarcasm.
Where are we?
That was sarcasm.
Yes.
It's strange because you do these things so many times, but there's still that kind of rush of like, all right, in 20 seconds I'm going to be on television, and anyone in the world could view this if they wanted to.
There could be hundreds of thousands of people watching this, and you're kind of in the seat controlling it all.
3, 2, 1.
Roll Red, open their mics.
Open mics. Go, Kevin.
Music under.
Stand by for standing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Go standing. Dissolve.
Welcome into the booth, Kevin Wheeler.
It is a stressful atmosphere. It's not for the faint of heart.
Regan and Emma, great job. I know there were a lot of last minute changes. Good job getting to it. I think the first time I ever shadowed a full control room show, I was completely lost because there is so much chatter and so many voices.
Stand by 4, take 4. Stand by 3, take 3. Stand by 1, take 1.
All right, good start, everybody. We are covering the action as well as we can.
Bertonjak, a song split out left,
Animate
and
the bug.
Rodrigo Almeida out right. Michael Sullivan.
And soccer is an interesting sport because so much of it can be a little bit slow. Maybe players are kicking around in the back, or there's not too much action going on. One of the things about soccer is that it can go from 0 to 100 as soon as the goal is scored.
Dawson with a great move into space. This one in front of net and a kick save there by Van der Sar. This one lined up by Virginia. It's still loose, and there's the first goal of the match.
Roll back from the beginning of Alfonso's run on red. All of a sudden we have to kick into gear, make sure we have the proper replays queued up. We'll go red, real speed first.
Effect to red, and effect to red, real speed.
Roll back on gold, or forward on gold a little bit. Gold next.
Semi-gold.
Go gold.
Dissolve.
Graphics is probably looking at how many goals that player has scored on the season.
Font 2 for both, and we'll just push them.
Making sure that we get back to play in time and we're not showing too many replays so that we miss some of the action after they resume. All right.
Stand by, effect out to
let's
5.
get out.
Effect out to 5. Key font 1. Stand by 1. Pick 1.
Down that left-hand side.
Thank you, Cams.
Even if mistakes happen, which they will, and we want this to be an environment where people can grow and learn from those mistakes.
I just want to say I screwed up the goal.
They're contesting.
That's all I have to say.
A couple graphics mistakes, but we moved forward and we kept a positive attitude. Just goes to show that every broadcast is bound to have at least 1 or 2 things that you probably want back, but it's just the way it goes.
What a performance for the Cavaliers to come in, knock off number 10 Pitt for their second straight top 10 victory.
Stand by
Virginia's in the lead in the ACC Coastal standings.
Payoff first. That's pretty much it, honestly, and that's where we can kind of take a big exhale and breathe a sigh of relief that we've made it through.
3, 2, 1. Cap it black. All right. Cameras, thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
Hey, great job, guys.
Video.
Thank you.
Once that game's over, it's a breath of fresh air.
Good stuff, everybody. If Matt Hammerlin wore Virginia orange, maybe we would have won again. Really, once the match ends, that's kind of it for the broadcast, and all the hard work that we put up throughout the week, hopefully by that point pays off.
Roller coaster's over. Good night.